Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, I'm going to be comparing the Ford Expedition Platinum to the Lincoln Navigator to see if you should really pay the extra money and get the Navigator. Before we get in this video though, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry Miller Ford Lincoln here in Provo, Utah for giving me some time with both of the vehicles. I'll include a link to their website in the description down below so you can check out what they have currently. If you have any questions or need any help, just ask for Johnny. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Powering the Expedition is a twin-turbo 3.5-liter V6 that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. Power outputs are 400 horsepower and then 480 pound-feet of torque with fuel economy being 16 around town and then 22 on the highway. Now under the hood of the Navigator, we have a twin-turbo 3.5-liter V6 that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. Power outputs are 440 horsepower and then 510 pound-feet of torque with fuel economy being 16 around town and then 22 on the highway. Now, before we go over the front ends, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. Now, when it comes to style, they could not be more different in my opinion. So with the Expedition, you guys can see here with the hood design, that's going to be the thing that's the most similar between both of them. But notice how it's kind of like raised there and a little bit more boxier with the design. And then look at the lights, how they're integrated in with the grille, and then look like the silver trim with the grille. And I guess that's one thing that'll be similar is like the silver and chrome trim with both the vehicles. But this has still like a sporty appearance, whereas you can tell with the Navigator they've gone kind of like full-on luxury. So if you actually take a closer look at the hood, notice kind of where the lines are placed, and then look at like the headlights and then the front grille design, way more in your face, you know, luxury versus the sporty looks of the Expedition. But let me know which one you like the look of more. Coming around the side here, our tire and wheel setup is actually identical, 285, 45, 22 in the front and in the rear with both of them, but look at the design difference. So with the Navigator, it's got this cool flowy type design, whereas with the Expedition, again, a little bit more of like a chunky sporty type design. And then look at how it says Navigator here on the side and then Platinum down below with the Ford. And then notice the difference with the mirror caps. They're obviously the same, but like the coloration difference that they've done. And then look at the silver trim there on the Expedition, and then same silver trim there on the Navigator. And then here's your full side view on the Expedition. This one is the Max if you guys are wanting, so it's a little bit longer. And then here's your full side view on the Navigator. This one is the regular version, so it's not the larger version, the L. Now when it comes to key fobs, they're pretty much identical. You guys can see the functions on them are the same, but notice with the Lincoln key fobs, a little bit shinier with the face. And then obviously the logos there on the back are a little bit different, but yeah, same key fob pretty much. So starting with the rear of the Navigator, and I guess this will also be a comparison with Max versus not Max or L versus not L. But anyways, you guys can see the storage behind the third row. And then notice with the seat controls, we can raise and lower the third row, and then we can just lower down the second row if we want. And then popping over the Expedition, this has the Max package. So again, if you had the Navigator L, it would have the same amount of storage space as what this has. So there's quite a bit more behind the third row. And then you guys can see same exact controls. Now finishing things up with rear design. Again, a lot of similarities because they're on the same platform, but also some distinct differences. So notice with the Expedition, we've got lots and lots of badging here on the back. And then I do like the new style of taillights, whereas it's a lot cleaner with the Lincoln. Notice we just have the Lincoln logo and then we have the light bar, right? So let me know which design you like better. I do think the Lincoln though, it definitely looks better. So on the back of the Navigator, you guys can see the door panel design here with the speakers and everything. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. And you guys can also see legroom back here is great. Got a little storage pocket. This one happens to have the TVs in the back, which are pretty sweet. And then you guys can see here for the sunshades, or sorry, not sunshades, rather the sunroof to control it. So you can actually control it from the rear, which is pretty cool. And then notice here with the cup holders. And then this is our little like control station here for the back. So we got heated and cooled seats here in the back. And we got massage function as well. And so, you know, I'd say for like second row seats, these things are pretty sweet, pretty cool. And then also notice with the center console here in the center, which hence why it's called a center console, but nice setup. Now back in the third row seats actually look pretty dang nice. They're also really comfortable and got a good amount of like leg room here in the back. Notice here for the seats I can recline them, which is pretty cool. And then headroom back here is also good. So taking a look at the door panel here at the Platinum, nice material use, and I think it looks pretty cool. Obviously not as fancy as the Navigator. And then legroom, I mean, it's the same because it's the same vehicle, but notice this setup right here. So we still have our own climate controls here in the back, but we obviously don't have nearly as many cool features. We do have heated seats though, which is nice. And then look at how these seats look. I think they're pretty cool looking overall. And then in the third row, I mean, legroom is the same, and you can still recline the seats here in the back as well. And then headroom's also good. So like similar practicality, no center console though. But obviously it just doesn't feel as fancy in here. But anyways, let's head to the front of the Navigator. Now with the front door panel, look at the material use, and you guys can see all the seat adjustments. There's like 2 million of them. And then you got all of your window controls, mirror adjustments. Mirrors do power fold in. They also have blind spot monitoring, and close that up so we don't get too much snow on everything. Ooh. And by the way, look at how crazy these front seats are. Like, just insane with the design. And yes, you can even adjust these little things with the thigh bolsters. But anyways, here's the steering wheel. Got really nice wood trim on it. Paddle shifters there on the back. Got some controls here for the center stack. For example, an apparent moving low on fuel. Speaking of center stack, here's the gauge cluster. Full digital gauge cluster. And we do have some different drive modes that we can go into. My favorite, of course, being Excite, right? And so it's just cool with all that customization. I do think this gauge cluster looks pretty fancy overall. Then if we pop it into reverse, this has a 360 camera system, as you can see. And then as for the infotainment system itself, we got a shortcut bar here at the bottom. Notice we can do for the running boards. I guess you can store them and everything. But my favorite thing is actually if I press the seat button here, or the other seat button, there we go. It's having to reset because I pressed another button. These are the rest of the adjustments. I mean, there's so many adjustments with these seats, and of course the front ones are massaging as well as heated and cooled. And then notice the gear selector down here. That is interesting. And then you got your controls here for like the radio, the climate controls, and then you guys can see here with the wireless phone charging pad. And then look at the, I pressed the button to close it. Look at the wood trim here. And you guys can see the parking assist, your auto stop, start, auto hold, and then your drive mode select. And then again with the front center console. I do think this wood trim though looks very nice. And then yeah, look at the trim on the dash and the recessed wood trim as well. This again has very nice luxurious appearance inside here. And then we do of course have the panoramic sunroof at the top. With the Expedition, that same theme from the rear door panel continues to the front. Notice we got like memory seats and everything, blind spot monitoring with the mirrors. And ooh. So here is our steering wheel. I think the steering wheel looks pretty cool. Not as fancy as the Navigator with the wood trim, but you know, pretty much all the same functionality. Same thing with the gauge cluster. It doesn't necessarily look as fancy, but it has, you know, all the same function. Like I can also go through a bunch of different drive modes with this one as well. And here are the seats. I will say the Navigator seats look better, and they're a lot more adjustable and more comfortable, frankly. These seats are very comfortable, but the Navigator seats are on a whole nother level. And if we pop it into reverse, 360 camera system. This one actually has the tablet infotainment system. I will say I prefer the Navigator infotainment system because it's the horizontal versus this vertical. But notice we got like heated and cooled seats, which I'm not sure why it's turning on the cooled seat right now because it's snowing outside. It's cold. You're confused, Expedition. But anyways, you can press the little Expedition there at the top. Notice it'll pull down with some different things we can pop into, like the camera system. But anyways, we've got like a little wireless phone charging pad below, and let's see what this trim looks like here. Yeah, pretty nice looking. And then notice the dial shifter, and then your locker for the rear. And then you guys can see your drive line select, and then hill descent control, parking assist, some cup holder action. And then the center console, yeah, straight out of the F-150, that's for sure. Same thing with the glove box, look at this. Yeah. And the trim on the dash and everything, I think that looks pretty nice. And then we do have a panoramic sunroof here at the top. Now when it comes to pricing, the Expedition stickers for just over $90,000, whereas the Navigator stickers for just over $108,000. Let's see how they drive. Oh. Let us set off. She will turn on the heated steering wheel because it's cold today. My body was like starting to get accustomed to, you know, I'd say like 50-degree weather on average. And now it's back to, well, 30 degrees. So my body's like, I don't like this. And it's like, hey, bub, deal with it. Deal with it. But anyways, it'll be interesting. By the way, I'm using this video for my Expedition review if I end up making that review, which might end up not happening because of snow. And also I'm going to be using it for the Expedition versus Navigator review. But let's talk about how the Expedition Platinum drives. So first off, seats are actually pretty dang comfortable. Good torque out of that engine, that's for sure. Yeah, having a twin turbo powertrain at higher elevation definitely helps out quite a bit. Now, aside from that, ride quality is really good. That's one thing that's nice about these big full-size SUVs is they're just so comfortable. Oh, we got lucky. Yeah, they're super, super comfortable. Let's see how this thing goes. Yeah, this thing's powerful, man. Moves. That wasn't even like full throttle. This thing moves. But yeah, summing things up here with the Expedition Platinum, I think this is a really for an Expedition, I think it's a good looking vehicle. I think the interior is definitely like the star of the show, right? This interior looks really high quality, especially for like Fords. Ford's not necessarily known to have like, it's not like their interiors are bad, but like they usually focus more on like, function over form, whereas this has some nice, elements to it, especially in the door panel. Now, aside from that, I'm trying to think what else you guys might want to know about. Seats are, I would say that, seats really comfortable. I just don't know if there's a reason to get this over a Limited. I think the Limited is probably the sweet spot for the Expedition, because you get all of the same features this has, and it's going to be less money. Let me know which one you'd go, Limited or Platinum. But okay, so we are setting off in the Navigator, and first off, I can say that seat comfort is definitely a lot better here in the Navigator compared to the Expedition. And getting a massage too also adds to the comfort that this vehicle provides. That is for sure. Ride quality might be a little bit better too. I noticed these stalks are different on the end. The reason I noticed that is because I had to use the windshield wipers in today's review. Why is this person walking like half in the sidewalk, half in the road? That was weird. Yeah, this is comfortable. It's pretty similar, but I would say that this is a little bit more comfortable than the Expedition when it comes to ride quality. And the overall comfort with this just seems to be a bit better. Man, it is so snowy today. See how the acceleration is. Woo! Yeah, it's a little bit quicker, but it's not a huge difference. They're both pretty close, but this is definitely a little bit quicker. So to sum things up with this comparison, $18,000 is a lot of money. But I do feel like you're getting a lot with this. I'd say it looks better on the outside. The interior is definitely a lot nicer looking. Material use is better as well. And the seats are way more comfortable. It drives a little bit better. I don't know if it's $18,000 better, but it is better. I'd have to say, if comparing that Platinum to this this Navigator, I'm gonna pick the Navigator out of these two. But if that was an Expedition Limited, I feel like that would be the one to go for, because even though it's not as nice as the Platinum, right, the value with that. So yeah, I think when you go fully loaded Expedition, it's like you might as well go Navigator. But if you're doing a middle of the line Expedition, it's like the value's there that, like, yeah, if you're just a feature person, the features make sense. But let me know which one you like more, Expedition or Navigator. Do you think the Navigator's worth the extra $18,000, or do you think it's too much badge engineering? Do you think that it should be a little bit less of a price difference between both of them?